now that the Morning Blend has been on the show, coming up 5 years, we've really gotten to know some of our guests. One guest in particular has had a new journey that we're excited to talk with her about and how it could benefit you in the legal world. Let's go ahead and bring in Katherine Stone. It has been too long, but I've been able to keep up because you now are very active with horses.
Yes.
Explain your new venture and what you've been able to learn that you're now taking to your clients.
Well, I grew up showing horses, quarter horses, and in the midst of COVID lockdown, I decided to call my parents and ask them if we could have an old horse for my daughter and I to play around on. And that kind of escalated with now we've got two horses. We're showing competitively at the quarter horse level. And but with that came, I'm now in Ocala a lot. And Palmetto, I go from Palmetto to Ocala a lot. And it brought up a lot to do with liability in the equine industry. And so, it was something I, as a child and as a youth, I never really thought about. But as an adult and practicing law, it's certainly something I think about all the time. So, a lot of times people think that if they go to a horse farm and let's say they ride a horse or they do one of these, everybody during COVID wanted to get outside. And I think that was great. And riding horses really got a boost. People going to farms and doing trail rides and things like that. And one of the biggest questions that I get, and I actually started getting some calls about injuries involving horses and equine. Equine can also be mules and donkeys. Typically we see horse-related accidents. And there's a liability insurance that can be purchased for the horse itself. So if the horse were to injure someone, for instance, you have the horse on your home farm and a child were to reach over the fence and the horse were to bite the child's hand. If you have personal injury insurance on that horse, then you're covered because your homeowner's policy probably is not going to cover equine. And then that's one example of people getting injured involving horses. So, your horse kicks somebody at a horse show, or your horse bites somebody at a horse show. It doesn't have to necessarily be on your farm. And so I've actually had some cases where I have signed up individuals who've sustained injuries related to horses. And the first question we look at is, did the owner have liability insurance on the horse itself? And then there's the other type of equine liability insurance, which is a commercial policy for farms or for trainers. A lot of times trainers think that they can't get insurance, which isn't true. And a lot of times people will say, well, I signed a release and waiver. Well, that may cover the farm in a certain circumstance. But for instance, let's say the trainer knew that a piece of equipment was faulty and they still put it on the horse and they still allowed you to ride with it. Well, then that's negligence. And so if there is a commercial equine policy in place, then it may cover you for any accidents or injuries. And so, I just tell clients, look, if you sustain an accident or an injury on a farm or any kind of horse or donkey or mule related, give us a call, because it may not just be as simple as there's no insurance or I signed a release and waiver. Those are all the things we take into consideration and we look at. And I think as, I don't sell insurance, but I think as a farm owner and as an equine owner, it's something we all need to worry about and be concerned about. I know I have it on both of my horses.
Katherine, of course, you have always been our go-to when it comes to workers' compensation law. And just to hear you expand your practice and to hear you have the passion behind it, if anyone's out there and they do have questions, it's better just to pick up the phone and see if you can help right out of the gate, right?
Yes. And we're expanding our office locations. You can find us on Instagram. We have a Facebook page, and we're always updating, where we're going to be next and where we're opening offices.
Good for
around
you.
the Tampa area.
Well, Katherine, we are out of time. Great seeing you again. I look forward to doing more segments. Of course, there's the information for you to get in touch with Katherine, her team, and the new office.